Welcome to Mormon Book Reviews, where an evangelical encounters the restoration. I'm your host, Steven Pynakker, and with me is a very familiar face, my homie and good friend, somebody who's been a friend of Mormon Book Reviews for a long time now, and also not only a friend of Mormon Book Reviews, but a personal friend. Pastor Jeff McCullough is in the house. Welcome to the program today, sir.
Hey, Steven. Thanks for having me, my friend.
Yeah, it's really exciting. You got this really cool summit where we're going to have a convergence of evangelical leaders and Latter-day Saints doing a summit. It's going to be a digital summit, which we're going to talk about. But before we get there, I just want to say, man, how you doing? How you liking Utah? Your kids just finished up their first year of school. I mean, just how's life treating you out there?
Yeah, life is treating us great. I mean, it's been rich and full of just all of the new experiences that come with a transition like this. And even as indicated by the fact that I'm sitting outside of my house right now, our kids, yeah, they just finished a school year and our house is so full with their post-school, summer activities. I don't have a place to do Zoom calls. So here I am I've been forced outside, but thankfully, yeah, another beautiful aspect about living in Utah. The weather is great, and we've just been loving it. It's been 10 months now, and obviously some difficulties that come with transitioning halfway across the country where you don't have any family or friends or anything, but we've been well received and we're loving it out here. So
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And I'm in beautiful sunny Florida, and I have to tell you, my friend, it's summer is upon us. It's quite hot, uh, and I do love getting out to Utah, especially during the summertime, because even like I remember a couple of years ago, I was at a conference and it was 106 degrees outside, and I'm like, you know what, guys, this ain't nothing. I'll take 106 in Utah over 90 in Tampa in the summertime because there's no
absolutely.
humidity.
The humidity in the Midwest and in the South is unbearable. So in Utah, yeah, it's very pleasant quite frequently.
Yes, yes. So, well, you're the first guy that I have interviewed since David Boyce of 52 Churches in 52 Weeks. And it's kind of interesting journeys that we're all on here as we engage the restoration. And, I just want to hear from you. Um, you're moved here, you're making friends, um, and more importantly, you're helping facilitate conversations like this summit. So I just want to hear from you. What's it been like for you? Now that it's been 10 months, oh my gosh, living in Utah, what kind of connections and relationships are you making with one Latter-day Saint community, but also the evangelical community?
Yeah, it's been a game changer, if I'm going to be honest. I mean, for the first year and a half of Hello Saints, I was um, almost an observer or a spectator of all things Latter-day Saint as I was kind of moving into this research. And now living here, just being immersed in this culture and seeing what it's really like for a Latter-day Saint community to interact within itself, outside of itself. It's just provided so many new helpful perspectives for me personally, even for my wife, for my kids. This is now becoming a family experience for us. But then as far as opportunities and connections are concerned, I'm just at the epicenter of all things Latter-day Saints. So making connections with people within a church leadership level, with the church communications department, which has been incredibly helpful and accommodating in giving opportunities for videos and lots of connections with just really great individuals, professors at BYU, different Latter-day Saint content creators. So it's just kind of helped this whole experience to move into greater depths of connection and moving beyond the stigmas that we can get hung up on and really relationally, in a relational sense and in a community sense, just have more proximity to more conversation. So it's been a game changer for sure.
Ever since I started this channel, overall, the response I get on different social media platforms, whether it's Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, all that kind of stuff, the feedback I've been getting generally has been about 90 to 95% positive from in its totality. What percentage of would you say the kind of feedback you're getting? Are you getting that high, or is it a little lower? What percentage would you say is positive versus negative?
Yeah, I mean, how do we measure percentages when we're talking about a YouTube comment section, right? What is that a accurate sampling of those who are truly watching the videos or engaging with the content. Um, so as best as have experienced, I would say it's probably more like, 80 to 85% positive or receptive. There's a solid 15 to 20%, primarily Latter-day Saint who aren't entirely comfortable with this new type of conversation. And there's a fair share of evangelicals as well, though I have more of the attention of Latter-day Saints than I do of evangelicals. But the vast majority of my engagement has been positivity. It's been appreciative, a willingness to acknowledge, yes, even though we're different in a lot of ways, really appreciate seeing us, hearing us, being willing to have the conversation, um, and in just being in Utah, anybody that I've engaged with, that I've run into, that have recognized me, it's been 100% positive. I haven't had any negative experiences in person running into anybody here out in Utah.
Well, that is wonderful. And I've told people this too. I said, people in the Bible Belt, I'm in the Southeast, originally from the Midwest, and people ask me, well, what's it like, entering into that world? I said, one of the advantages of engaging the restoration is you get to hang out with some of the nicest people in the world. And I say that without exaggeration. These are wonderful, kind, uh, just wonderful people that you just love to be around. They're positive. I don't know. I just find that there's the spirit, overall spirit of these people is very positive.
Well, yeah, that could be a whole podcast episode, right? I mean, if we're going to really exegete a statement like "you will know them by their fruits,"
Yeah.
yeah, oftentimes we'll hear evangelicals make comments like, "Latter-day Saints are some of the best, loving, kind-hearted, servant-oriented people you will ever meet. However, their doctrines are X, Y, and Z," right? Okay. I'm not trying to downplay that, however, because I understand differences are important. Um, but why don't we say it the other way around? You know, I don't necessarily agree with the doctrines. However, the fruit of their lives really indicate, you know, kindness and charity and a desire to understand. So I would rather look at it that way. Where you place the but matters when it comes to engaging with people and seeing people.
Amen to that. That's so true. And I do think that's, I was just talking to a guy who's going to be doing for his local church here. He's an elder in the church, and he's going to be doing a thing on cults and other religions. And I told him, I said, don't use cult, first of all. But
Yeah.
I spent 45 minutes with him on the phone, and he's typical, pretty rigid kind of guy. And I just told him, I said, listen, I said, we can go by doctrine, and that's fine. And we can talk about the doctrinal differences that we have. But I said, honestly, Jesus gave us kind of a measuring stick. He said, you'll know them by their fruits. I said, I honestly feel that that's not, that's always disregarded. And I tell people, said, they can criticize the church by going on and reading the doctrinal statements of a church, but have never visited that church. And I said, sometimes you got to, if you really want to be engaging, I said, you need to actually engage the people in the pews as opposed to just doctrinal statements. I wouldn't do that for any other church, especially for the Latter-day Saints. I just think it's really important to be people oriented and be with them where they're at and
Yeah.
converse that way.
Well, and I mean, anybody, wherever you sit in your religious paradigm, you will always think that you have the high ground. I mean, that's why you've chosen that religious paradigm. So it can go both ways. Latter-day Saints might say, we really like to talk to you and get to know you. However, you're just missing so much. We have so much more that we want to share with you. And yet evangelicals will also claim a corner market saying, it's great that you say you love Jesus. However, there's things that are talked about in the Bible that we don't feel like you're totally grasping. Again, worthy conversations that, even we'll discuss in just a second, tied to this summit that I'm moderating here. But I think that beyond religious paradigms, a greater effort to see people is what Jesus modeled for us with the woman at the well when he says, "Oh yeah, we have very different beliefs and they matter. However, let's get to the heart of the matter here. Let's beyond this water that you're going for, beyond where you worship, where are the true desires of the heart and the true spiritual reality beyond those things?" And that's where we can have some really great conversations.
Well, last year I was at the opening of the newest steak center, the Sarasota Steak Center, just a few miles down the road from my house. And I went to the open house, and I was just, it's a Utah ward. It's all Utah transplants.
No,
And
funny.
this one lady was saying how, you know, somebody had mentioned, oh, that building over there, that's a Mormon church. And the lady to her neighbor, uh, and she said, yeah, that's where I'll be going to church. And next thing you know, their kids were not allowed to play with her kids. And they were talking about this, and I just went to him and said, I know that that's something that happens, but I said, but I can tell you that I hear stories of evangelicals who live in Utah who have similar experiences where they're not allowed to play with their kids. And they went to me and they said, you know what, you're absolutely right. It goes both ways. So I think that's the important thing about having these conversations, is to acknowledge that both sides sometimes are impolite, or aren't handling things in the Christian manner. And I was just so grateful that they were willing to just say, yeah, absolutely, that
Yeah.
happens, and we have to own that too. And
Yeah.
really, that's the 200-year history of our movements in many ways, in summation.
Yeah. And that's why we need to acknowledge the offense or the offenses that exist, but also look for ways to repair those offenses, rather than continue to cold shoulder or stonewall one another beyond, our religious pretensions that can kind of settle in there, and really try to understand one another, which is really the whole objective of this channel, Hello Saints, and also of the Hello Saints Summit that I'm getting ready to launch here in June.
Yeah, so really excited to share this with the audience. And really, honestly, this doesn't happen 5, 10 years ago. What the
Right.
conversations that you and I are having don't happen. This summit doesn't happen. And I have to say, there are a ton of familiar faces. Many of these people have been guests on my program, or will be future guests. And we have this great mix of evangelical and Protestant leaders and Latter-day Saint influencers, and leaders. Just tell us a little bit about this conference and how people can participate in it.
Yeah. So the summit is going to take place. It's a virtual summit, June 11th through June 20th, and it's fully digital. So if you go to hellosaintssummit.com, you could also go to hellocreative.life/summit-2024, but hellosaintssummit.com is probably the easiest way to get there. The way the summit is going to be formatted, it's almost it's a Hello Saints concentrate, but just with more voices in the mix. It's 10 days. Each day there's one topic discussed, and those who participate in the summit will be able to hear a presentation on that topic, both from a Latter-day Saint and from a Protestant. So some of the topics include: who is Jesus? What is truth? Family and marriage. Um, the image of God. What is heaven going to be like? And you can see the schedule here, that it's going to be formatted in a way that each day you will be able to hear a fully informed view from both a Latter-day Saint and from a Protestant. And some of the people involved, the voices involved, are, like you said, they're prominent individuals in both communities. In the Protestant side, individuals like Sean McDowell, who's the son of Josh McDowell, a pretty well-known Protestant teacher, speaker, and apologist, author. Jordan B. Cooper, who's a Lutheran YouTuber. Del Tackett, who worked with Focus on the Family and the Truth Project years ago. And then a mutual friend of ours, like Kyle Bashirs and other pastors like that. Mike Smith from Centerpoint in Orem. My wife is going to be involved. And on the Latter-day Saints side, some of my friends like Greg Mattson and Jacob Hansen, David Butler, but also voices that are coming from more of an academic standpoint, like Trevin Hatch and Michael Goodman. They're both professors at BYU. Hannah Stoddard from the Joseph Smith Foundation. And all of this has been made possible through the help of my friend Kurt Frankum, who's a Latter-day Saint. He's got the podcast Leading Saints. So not only is he presenting, but he's helped behind the scenes in a lot of different ways to help pull all of this together.
Okay, so basically, I just want to understand. So, well, first of all, what made you decide to do this over the course of like 9 days, as opposed to like doing it over like the period of a couple days? Just kind of, what's the thought into doing this, and then we'll talk about how people can sign up for this as well.
Yeah, I think the reason why it's over, it's a 10-day period, and the reason why I did it this way is because it can be a little bit like drinking out of a fire hose. There's a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of informational intake, especially when you're parsing through the nuances that might exist in certain areas of these topics. You know, faith and works is its own nuanced conversation on a Protestant level, let alone when you're looking at it side by side with how Latter-day Saints handle that, or how Latter-day Saints handle family and marriage and the eternal impact of that versus a Protestant view. So doing it over 10 days just kind of regulates a little bit of the information intake and just allows us to, um, you know, really focus and give attention to each topic respectively.
And so basically, this is, and is this going to be live and people participate that way, or is this pre-filmed?
Most of it has been pre-recorded, but they've been presented in ways and they'll be packaged and curated in ways that will feel unique from anything else you've seen on Hello Saints. Some of them are straight up presentations, others are interviews or conversations. There will be a couple of live streams that will take place, not only with me and my wife Joy, but also some of the other presenters here with the summit. So during that 10-day period, there will be a lot of ways to engage and interact with the content and with the presenters.
Okay, so now we have this place here for people to sign up. So just explain to everybody what this sign up looks like, and then how they can, and what, and then how ease of access. And as a matter of fact, while we're doing this, I think I will just fill in the application myself.
That's great. So it is it's free to sign up to get a free ticket, and all you have to do is go to hellosaintssummit.com and you'll see this form where you can fill out your basically just your name and your email. And once you click to sign up, it will take you to the page that will give you access to a few other things. Now, for those who are using that free ticket, the videos they're going to cycle over this 10-day period, and they're going to be available for 24 hours on the day that they're posted. And for people who are interested in donating to Hello Saints, Hello Creative, because this is a nonprofit, if you donate, then you will get access uninterrupted, continually, full access to all the videos without expiration, without interruption. So, yeah, you can do it for free and just kind of keep up day to day. Or as a thank you for people who donate, you'll get access to all of the videos indefinitely. There's a few other perks that come with this all access pass. You'll get access to Kurt Frankam's Leading Saints leadership library for 3 months, where he has other summits available that you can watch. Um, you'll have access to sort of the online community where there's going to be opportunities to comment and chat. I'll be doing a drawing for people who have the all access pass. 3 individuals will get 3-month access to Patreon video calls, Zoom calls with me, and a few other things. But yeah, you can either have that free access and keep up, or if you donate, get access to the full all access pass there.
Wow, this is really cool. I mean, I just think this is an awesome thing that you're doing. I think it's really important. Oops, I just skipped over there, but that's fine.
That's right. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just really great just to see these new types of conversations happening between the evangelical world and the Restoration. I think that people, it's a growing movement. It's really exciting that, a little over 3 years ago, I started this channel, and basically there wasn't anybody else doing what I was doing. Well, of course, Greg Johnson is kind of the trailblazer
Mm.
that we all probably owe a debt of gratitude to, that to kind of,
And he's one of the speakers at the summit, as a
yeah,
matter of fact.
and Richard Mao is another one that
Mhm.
20 plus years ago, they were the guys that kind of laid the groundwork that eventually led to us, the next generation, to come in and kind of carry the torch
Right.
of these wonderful individuals who really just changed the conversation,
Yeah.
and so I think we owe a debt of gratitude to those trailblazers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's really what this comes down to. It's again, I always rally around Jesus with the woman at the well. There were so many stigmas attached to the cultural dynamics that existed in that encounter. And it's embedded in the text in John chapter 4. You know, she's a woman. She has a sordid past. She's a Samaritan. The destigmatization allows us to move beyond the demonization that we can sometimes resort to, and just see one another as individuals and to just have the conversations And how wide the divide, the book that was written years ago by the individuals that you just spoke about, they set an example that says we can destigmatize this conversation and still be honest where we're similar and where we're different. And I'm excited and appreciative that we can do things like this now, all these years down the road, and continue these conversations.
Yeah, that's great. Well, just real quick, also, folks, just a reminder, make sure you sign up for that. I also want to share with the audience the launch of my new YouTube channel, the Utah Interfaith Forum. We've taped about 8 or so episodes with various religious community people of different religious communities in the state of Utah. Monica, my co-host, who gave you a personal tour of the temple, she is my co-host for the program, and we're going to start launching some stuff soon. If it wasn't for my medical condition, the severe tinnitus that I am experiencing that has been, quite frankly, debilitating at times. I kind of turned over a new leaf last week. We're not going to let this thing take me down. My plan is to be attending the Mormon History Association Friday, June 13th at 10:30 in the morning. I will be giving a presentation along with other podcasters about podcasting Mormon history. I just want to let everybody know I love you and appreciate all the kind words and the prayers that have been directed towards me. You're an awesome, wonderful people, both, and even some people who are atheists said, well, I'm sending secular prayers your way, Steve. I just want to thank everybody for the kindness and the empathy that have been shown to me during this period that has been a trial and suffering. And I want to thank you as a friend, Jeff. You are a pastor, and at times you have served in a pastoral role to me. I want to thank you for our friendship. It really means a lot.
Yeah, my friend, I know what it's like to walk through trial. I know what it's like to feel debilitated and disoriented by things that are outside of your control. And when it's physical, that can be all consuming. So I'm praying for you, and I'm proud of you for keeping your feet moving and pressing through, but also taking the time off that you needed to. Some people wouldn't do that. They would try to press through. So good for you in doing that. And yeah, I'm with you. Hang in there. Still praying for you, and trust that you'll get back at it in due time here.
Okay, great. Well, thanks again, Jeff. Thanks for the great work that you're doing. I'm glad that if you feel at home in Utah, I'm glad your family's doing well as well. I'm looking forward to seeing you next time I'm out in Utah. Hopefully I'll be out there in July. And we're going to have a link in the show notes for this event, so you can access it that way as well. It is free, but also if you want to do the $59 donation, you'll have access to special perks and other things as well. So you may want to consider making a donation to this worthy cause of different people talking from all the different ideas and different groups within Protestantism, Evangelicalism, and the Restoration. I want to thank you, Jeff, for coming on the program to talk about it today, and I wish you Godspeed in your endeavor.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
All right, folks, so tell me what you think. There will be links in the description for those of you who'd like to financially support the channel. I want to thank my Patreons and people who donate on Venmo as well as PayPal. And of course, don't forget our merch store, MormonBookReviews.com, where you can get lovely things such as this ball cap and t-shirts and all assorted things. It's really cool. So check that out if you'd like to financially support the channel. And also just keep me in your prayers. They are felt, and they are welcomed from all different people of different persuasions. It's greatly appreciated. And most important thing is this, folks, remember, all the voices of the restoration will be heard here on Mormon Book Reviews.